네, 안녕하세요, 조실린 씨.
안녕하세요. 세-
네. Thank you so much for your time for this video. And my first question is, can you tell me a little bit more about your Korean learning history so far and your background before joining this mentorship program?
Sure. I, with respect to my Korean learning history, um, I have been learning Korean now for a little bit over a year.
Mm,
So maybe um, 15 months to be exact. And For the most part, I have started with group class, which I'm still doing,
mm,
actually, two group classes.
mm.
Um, and also have had individual tutoring as well as individual conversation um, tutoring class. And then I also have a language exchange partner who I've become good friends with, and we talk on a regular basis,
Okay.
usually on once a week.
Mm,
Um, so that's sort of like the extent of my Korean learning background, where once I decided I'm going to learn this language, I tried to just really fully immerse myself
mm,
in it. Prior to that, before I really decided to go in with like the Korean classes, I started to, when I wanted to explore the Korean language, I started um, with the apps first.
mm.
Duolingo, Pimsleur. Um, I can't even remember all the other apps. I think there's one
Mm,
called Drops. There's just so many, and I've
mm,
tried
mm,
whatever is out there just to see which one would work.
mhm.
And that's eventually, after that, how I ended up doing other things.
Okay. Mm. So you've tried quite many different methods before. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And so in terms of like group classes and using a lot of apps, what worked
Hmm.
well and what do you think something didn't really work well?
Okay. Well, um, the apps certainly did not work at all. I mean,
Mm,
started with it and I pretty much was looking at different apps, trying different things, and I just realized early on that this wasn't the right way to be
mm,
learning a language.
mm,
Uh, and then that's when I started looking at other classes, and it was actually my sister who got me even started um, with taking the group class, because at that time when I was still looking at the apps, it was mostly like, oh, maybe I'll learn like a few phrases just to prepare for our trip to Korea. I was planning on going to Korea with my sister, and I figured I'm like, oh, I should at least know how to say basic words,
mm,
right? And so I was using that to learn the app, and then my sister talked me into like taking a class. And when I started the group class, it, that's when I actually really start really enjoying learning Korean, because it was nice to have sort of like other people that are
yeah.
learning along with you and having that community, which I think is really key and very important when you're learning a language, is to have that supportive community to like help you get through it. So sometimes you might hit some rough patches, and
Mm,
it's there are people that can understand what you're going through, or that they can offer support, or they can offer encouragement, or sometimes they even offer guidance or like tips on like how you can get over that next
mhm.
hump.
맞아요. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally agree. And I think you're really doing good job in that. Like you're really supporting your friends and helping them teaching grammar. So 잘하고 있어요.
Yeah, we try, and we do like, we try to do a lot of study group and just
Mm,
even private conversation.
yeah.
Uh some, a lot of times on our own, even though sometimes, we may not know everything and, we try to correct each other, but, you know, at the end of the day, even if we're still making mistakes, it's okay
Mm,
because as long as we're speaking,
yeah.
I think of it as like, well, it's a workout. We're working out our tongues to like speak Korean.
Right. Home
It's
practice.
like conditioning our muscles.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. 네, 좋아요. Okay. Then how did you find my content at the beginning? And how did you hear about this mentorship program?
Um, so I was taking different classes, and I started looking around because I really wanted to supplement the classes that I'm taking, with the group classes. It was great because I really like having that community, and I was learning a lot of like sort of like the basic foundation for for Korean,
Mhm.
the vocabulary, the grammar, which is really great. Um, but with like the group class, because it's a group,
Mhm.
there's a more there, there's focus on learning the grammar and learning the vocabulary, and then we also practice on the speaking. But I wanted more. Um, I wanted to like focus more, sort of like a targeted like speaking
Okay.
course, because I figured I can learn all the grammar and all the vocabulary, but I really need to put it to use
Mhm.
before, right? And so I started looking around and looking at different platforms and different like on Instagram, on YouTube, like looking at just different teachers and seeing what kind of programs are out there. Because what I was really looking for is a targeted speaking course. And
Mhm.
that's actually how I came across your platform. And I don't remember exactly, but I think that I may have come across one of your uh, YouTube videos where you were
Mhm.
talking, you know, about having a system
Yeah. Uh-huh.
and sticking with that system, which sort of resonated with me because I also thought that, oh, if you're going to learn a language, you need to be speaking that language every
Mhm.
day.
Yeah.
And I try to do that every day, but when I think I came across your video, um, you know, what resonated to me was the whole accountability.
Um,
Um, and having a system that I know like I have to like keep up with and I have to follow, right? Because on the learning the grammar and learning the vocabulary, I feel like I have that accountability with my group classes because we have homework and then we have to learn these things so that we can practice it. um, but it's harder to hold myself accountable on the speaking side because no one's going to tell me, oh, every day you have to speak at least 10 minutes or you have to at least do this, right?
mhm.
Unless, I mean, thankfully, my sister's also learning Korean. So, I always bother her and I always say, oh, 얘기, 같이 얘기해요.
좋아요. It's very good that you have your sister to practice with, somebody to practice with every day also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I call her. I said, oh, 지인 씨, 지금 뭐 해? 서로
Yeah.
같이 얘기해요.
Oh, that's so cool.
But I think for me, like when I saw what your program was in terms of the whole feedback loop
Mm,
and like having a system and having accountability, um, that that stood out for me, and that's when I actually then tried to get onto your the school platform and was like, oh, let me check this out and let me see what this is all about. So that's how I ended up with
oh, okay.
my Easy Korean platform
I see.
community.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I can really relate to what accountability, the one you're talking about,
Mhm.
because if I think about also myself, like you can like get so much information in internet, like how to do
Mhm.
things. There's so much, like
There's a lot.
tutorials. Yeah. But once you start doing it, like, okay, maybe today I'm do it and tomorrow I don't do it. I think that's why
Yeah.
like paying something to be held
Yeah,
accountable. Yeah.
yeah,
So, mm,
exactly.
nice.
And I think it also, like doing this program and it really sort of like condition you, right? So now, um, because we're constantly doing the prompts and the whole feedback loop,
Mm-hmm.
um, like a lot of times now when I'm speaking to someone else, like I don't even really stop to think about it that as much before. Before it would take me a little longer to try to formulate a response.
Mm.
Um, but because we've been doing this system, I find that now sometimes I don't even think about it and just start responding in
Okay.
Korean, you
Um,
know, and then afterwards I'd be like, oh, I was like, I just responded really quickly on that one.
I did it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. All right. So, you ended up joining this mentorship program,
Mhm.
but also, did you have any small doubts before joining?
Um, no, I mean, I don't think so. I mean, we did the 7 day challenge before we did this one-on-one mentorship program. So I think that the 7 day challenge really was a good preview into
Mhm.
what this mentorship program is
Mhm.
all about.
Yeah.
Um, and so that was helpful in terms of sort of like being able to, I guess I call it like test run
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
program,
Uh,
um, and trying to see if this would be a good fit. And I think that
mm,
is really, um, if there's anything that I got out of that 7 day program,
mm,
was to be able to assess whether this is something that is a good fit for me and this is something that I can keep up with and I can maintain. And I have to say that, the 7 day program is certainly not easy. It is
mm,
challenging, but I think it was challenging. Yeah, it has to be challenging, right? Because
yeah.
otherwise, if I didn't find it challenging, to be honest, then I wouldn't need the one-to-one mentoring.
Yeah, I agree.
um, but I think for me it was like, okay, this is challenging and this is really gonna take me out of my comfort zone.
Mm,
But I also recognize that that's what I need to
okay.
get me to like the next level.
Mm-hmm. I see. All right. So I think it has been almost 2 months since you started this program.
Mhm.
And yeah, how do you feel about your Korean speaking now? How is it different?
I think that I have more confidence
Mm,
now um, than before, but you know, I'm not I have more confidence in terms of speaking, but probably not necessarily getting everything right. But maybe it's just the fact that now I've gotten used to just speaking, and then even if I make mistakes, I just keep going.
mm-hmm.
That just made me more confident with my speaking. Um, but I certainly cannot say that
Mm,
everything I say is correct. I just feel good about speaking Korean. Like I don't really think twice about it now. If I run into someone like let's say a native speaker
mm.
when I make my trips to Koreatown, I really try to like speak Korean to people.
Oh, that's good. Okay. And mostly, how do they react to your speaking Korean?
um, so they get surprised.
Yeah.
They actually, I think one time I was at a bakery and then I was sitting outside with my friend. We were on a bench sitting there eating our bread and then there were these older Korean women that were outside too and then they sat on the bench next to me and then one of them had a daughter
Mm,
who she came out. She was carrying like an infant in her baby carrier,
mm,
and then I stood up, to like let her, let her seat right
mm.
to have for her to have a seat on the bench, and then she was like, she was like, oh, that's okay, and she was said in English, but then I just like blurted out to her in Korean. I said, oh,
Oh.
안녕하세요, 안녕하세요, and and the older woman, they were like, they looked at me, they were like shocked. They were like, oh, she spoke Korean?
You're Korean. I can already imagine their face.
Yeah, so they were, I think I was actually just funny, like just like
Yeah.
to watch it. But the funny thing is I just said that to her without even thinking about it. It just kind of like,
Mm, just came out. Wow. Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, it just came out. I was just like, oh, just say, oh, 괜찮아요. And they were
Oh,
like,
so natural.
yeah.
Um,
So then I was just like, oh, I didn't even think about that. It just came out. But
okay.
and then after that, I visited the Korean bookstore, and there was the older gentleman there that I guess he must be. I think he might be the Seunghee. He might actually even be the owner. But he's always very helpful,
Mm.
and so I try to, like, and he remembers me. I think because I've been there enough times. So now when he sees me, he just starts speaking to me in Korean. But the
Oh,
problem is he speaks so fast, and sometimes I only get half of what he's saying,
yeah.
but he just keeps going, and then I just go along with it.
Yeah. I think also like when Korean people don't switch to English, that means that it seems like you're not hesitating in speaking Korean. It's a very good sign if they don't switch it
Mhm,
because Koreans easily switch from Korean to English if they realize
mhm.
that they're not really good at Korean or it feels like they need to help them in English. So that's why they switch it. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I think it's a good sign that he didn't switch. Okay, 네, 고마워요. So my last question is, what are you focusing on right now on studying Korean, and what's your next big challenge?
Um, so I think I'm still, focusing on speaking, but at the same time, I'm really trying to um, uh, acquire more vocabulary,
Mm,
um, and really making more of an effort to use all the grammars that I've been learning as part of like my other group classes, and really trying to sort of like own those grammars so that they become more natural
mm,
in speaking part. So what I'm trying to do is really kind of have a good balance
mm.
of input and output.
Okay.
So that's where I think the system that you have comes in, is that it provides a nice balance to all the input that I get
Mm,
and output, so that I'm able to do both and maintain a good equilibrium. See, I could
yeah.
probably now I'm having a hard time saying things in English. I say better in Korean.
I think it's good signs, or I don't know. Yeah, I see. Mm,
So so yeah, so I think that's still like my focus is
mm,
it's it's getting is acquiring more vocabulary so that I could
mm,
speak, because
mm,
much as like I feel more confident now with speaking Korean, I also realized that the obstacle, probably the biggest obstacle for me right now, is that I still don't have enough vocabulary words.
mm.
You know, which I think it's gonna take time,
Yeah.
and I kind of try to put it in perspective where,
Mhm.
it's okay. It's like I've only been learning Korean for a little bit over a year, so I can't possibly have, like
Yeah, exactly.
a dictionary,
Yeah.
type of,
Mm,
uh, 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 knowledge of Korean vocabulary. So I just have to continue building and building and building. So.
맞아요. Yeah, totally agree. I think vocabulary
Mhm.
is something we have to see long term, but also
Mhm.
knowing like high frequency ones first and then like
Mhm.
adding things more advanced ones. I think that's the right path. Yeah.
Exactly. And then as we do like our prompts, and I realize, there are words that I need to know, or things that I have to look up to, or, when you ask me questions about any of the prompts that you might send me, and some of them I'm like, oh, mochi?
Mm.
Like, And then I just then make sure to add it to my Anki. I'm like, oh, another vocabulary I need to learn.
Okay. Anki is one of the best app, I believe, for
Yeah,
remembering things. Yeah.
yeah,
Mm.
exactly.
Mm. Okay. Thank you so much, Jocelyn, for your time. It was
Ah,
great to hear.
yeah, welcome. This is fun.
감사합니다.
네, 감사합니다.